What's going on, everybody? This is Saul Sunforge for Dungeons and Taverns. Hopefully, you're having a great start to your weekend. Although, I guess for me, technically, right now it's Sunday, so the weekend's on the final day. But I wanted to make this video on player etiquette, and I wanted to make it before this incident that happened today. Oh, it really wasn't an incident that happened today. It was a ongoing incident where the players in the Curse of Strahd campaign constantly interrupt me. When it's my time to talk, they interrupt, and they always want the spotlight on them, and can't stand when other people have their turn. And in combat, constantly taking my actions for me. You know, and it just wasn't something I was wanting to deal with, and that shouldn't be something that you want to deal with if that happens to you now or in the future. You shouldn't put up with it, and I put up with it for 4 sessions or so, 5 sessions, and that's more time than I probably should have. But I wanted to end it before I started taking the in-game stuff personal that they were doing this, and it kind of is because a lot of these things apply to your everyday life, not just D&D. So this is on player etiquette, and I just made a list. I wrote out some stuff, and hopefully it helps you out. It's all coming from a place of caring and a place of love and a place of respect. And, I just want you to be the best player, the best DM that you can be. And if I get to help you do that, it makes me feel good. So this list is in no order. The first point I have is, and this probably one is in order. It probably is the most important, at least to me. Smell presentable. Uh, Everyone stinks at some point. I get it, man. You come home from work, you get to go play D&D. You didn't get to take a shower. Things happen. But if you're constantly smelling horrible, or you act like you're allergic to soap and water, you probably shouldn't play D&D, or you should take care of that problem, because it is a problem. And I'm going to let you know that if you can smell yourself, other people definitely can smell you. Um, you know, Wear deodorant, use soap and shampoo, body wash, whatever. Don't just try to cover it up with Axe body spray, because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. You guys use too much of it. Don't do it. Just bathe yourself. Be hygienic. And nobody wants to be around that salt and vinegar chip sweat smell of old stale sweat for even a few seconds, let alone entire sessions worth of time. So just take better care of yourself. You're about to be in a social situation. You're going to be in a social situation. The D&D game, you were looking forward to it. You knew it was going to happen. So just take care of yourself. That's it. Second point, food. If you're bringing food, cool, but make sure you bring enough for to share. You don't got to go out of pocket hundreds of dollars each session or nothing like that. But at the very least, you should probably ask your DM, "Hey, I'm going to Taco Bell. You want anything?" Or, "Hey, I'm gonna bring over assuming that you're of age. I don't want you to do anything. I'm not suggesting you're your own person. You do what you want. But if they're like, "Hey, you got I'm bringing some alcohol. Did you want anything? I'm going to the liquor store. Going to pick some stuff up. What do you like to drink?" Those are things that ingratiate yourself with the DM. Those are things that very good players do. It's not the only thing they do, of course, But it's a good telltale sign that you have a great player on your hands. If they bring you some goodies, you know. Um, and just a friendly tip: if you are gonna bring food and you do share it and all that stuff, try not to bring things that leave residue on your hands, like Cheetos, Doritos. Don't and greasy hands. If you eat pizza or whatever, wash your hands after you're done, or before you touch things. Nobody wants grease prints all over their fresh limited edition books, and they don't want Cheeto dust on their maps and grease all over their minis, and it just I mean it sounds disgusting, doesn't it? Like, it's kind of just I'm just gonna move on because I have a bad gag reflex, and if I just think about it too much, I'll next topic. Don't talk out of turn. In D&D, everyone gets a turn, and for however short or long it is, everybody gets their turn. Generally, some people might get a bit more. Some people are more talkative than others. But everybody has time to be the face of the party, the lead, if you will, for their character arcs and backstories and whatever. And so you had your turn. If nobody interrupted you, don't interrupt them. And if they did interrupt you, and they keep interrupting you, bring it up with the DM. If the DM doesn't care, get a new DM. Leave the campaign. Just leave that stuff behind. It's no good for you. People need to be treated with respect. You deserve respect. And the DM deserves respect too. So don't interrupt the DM. It's not cool. It takes a lot of time away from the other players, everything that's going on. Just don't be a spotlight hog. It's not all about you. Just don't do that. Don't be that person. It's not all about you. It's not all about the DM either, though. So, if you have a DM who tries to make everything about him or her, uh, uh, you know, and if they do that, it's time. It's time for you to move on. Um, don't dogpile. That's my next point. And dogpiling is simply the act of rolling your dice for a skill check and failing, and then somebody else they want to do this same check and they might fail, and then another person's and it's like every single person who sees the person in front of them fail, they'll try to instinctively roll to pass it. And probability says that if you have six players and they're all rolling the same check, it's gonna get passed. Don't do it. It's not fun. It's kind of lame, actually. And D&D is it's a game. Yeah, you can quote unquote win the campaign. You beat the big bad evil guy or whatever. If that's considered a win to you, that's a win, right? But the best characters that I find in books and movies and TV, they're flawed. Even badass characters like Geralt of Rivia, flawed. The best character and you don't have to trust me about this. Go read books. You'll see that the best characters out there are flawed. Some part of them is flawed, and so it's fine to fail. It's fine to fail the roles, and in fact, I think the best D&D happens when rolls are failed, because things get funny. Sometimes they get a little bit zany, a little bit of controlled chaos. Everybody's having a great time. It's good to go. Um, you know, excuse me. The next one I have, I think it's point 5. Don't cheat. Um, and you may not, you know, be aware that you're even cheating. Uh, Possibly, if you're a new player, it's very possible. If you're a veteran, you know, you do, you definitely know. Um, and I just want to make you aware of some habits that DMs look for, and to know that you're cheating. Uh, so if you roll the dice randomly, and once a good number pops up that you're happy with, for you to say, "Oh, that's for my perception," or "Oh, that's my stealth," like it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You declare what you want to do. The DM says if you can or cannot do it in that situation, we'll say, "Okay, roll. Go ahead and roll," and then you roll, and that's your roll. If you're sitting there playing with your dice, it's rude. Dice make no lots of noise. If there's people there talking and you're just sitting there rolling your dice, you probably shouldn't be there. That's a sign of boredom. If you're bored when it's anybody else's turn but yours, this might not be a game for you. You could call that gatekeeping if you like to. I don't think it is. I think it's just trying to help you out, help other people out. You know, that's all. That's all. Um, oh, if your dice fall on the floor, just re-roll them, and don't do anything where like you put your hand and you cup your hand around the dice to block the DM's view of the number. Don't put books in between the dice and the DM and things, so that it obstructs the view, or your snack foods, or whatever you could put on the table. Don't roll your dice and then double clutch them. Roll them and pick them up real quick. Don't do that. Those are all signs, and definitely don't change your stats on your own just because. If it's something that you earned in the campaign, then great. That's awesome. That's the way to do it. If you're sitting there erasing stuff, so you can add in extra, you know, gold, that's cheating. Items, that's cheating. Your stats, that's cheating. And it's not fun. Um, some DMs may not care, but at that point, what are you playing for? Why not just play a computer game? You could type in a cheat code or something. Why? Why? What's the purpose of playing where failure is not going to happen? Uh, it's kind of boring, in my opinion. You might have a different opinion, of course, which is fine. Um, what's my next point? I gotta squint because my eyes are getting blurry. Oh, playing on your phone or PC, just playing, fidgeting around, doing stuff on texting, whatever you're doing. Um, if you're there to play D&D, you're there to play D&D. Um, I've not mentioned it to any of my players before, and I probably should. I usually don't mention things to try to keep the peace, but that stops going forward. And but we use Discord for our voice chat, right? And I could see if you're playing a game, it shows it on underneath your status, your online status, that you're playing a game. If you're playing another game while we're playing D&D, don't go ahead and play that other game. Just leave us people who want to play D&D alone. Go play your other game. You know, it's not D&D. It's not, you know, play whenever you don't have nothing else to do. You know, if you commit yourself to playing a campaign, you're there to play in the campaign. You know, no DM is going to say to you, "Hey, do you want to join my campaign that I worked super hard on, so you could only listen to things when I'm talking to you directly, or other players are talking to you directly, or it's your turn. But otherwise, you can play any other game you want." Is that cool? No, nobody's gonna ever say that. Okay, it's not gonna happen. There's a lot of people that are looking for DMs. There's a lot of players. There's a lot of players and potential players, and limited spots, right? So if you're taking up one of those valuable spots that some other player who doesn't have these bad qualities, I'd much rather have that player. By you not paying attention, it shows that you really don't want to be there. If you don't really want to be there, then why are you there? It kind of makes you look silly, really. Not me. I'm not being disrespectful. It would be you. And so, you know, from now on, I'm probably going to say, you know, can you please go? You know, can you please, or, you know, I'll probably give a warning first. Can you stop doing that? And if it persists, that means that person just doesn't respect you. And I'm just not going to play D&D with players who don't respect me anymore. I used to let everything go, you know, pretty much, and then, you know, players start thinking they could walk all over you, and that's just because I was being a nice guy. I'm not somebody you could walk all over. I could change real quick, and I don't want to be like that over a game, you know. But you want to pay attention, because having to repeat yourself after you said something multiple times throughout multiple sessions, it's just hours and hours of wasted time that could have been spent making the game better, doing more things in the game, you know, doing more things per session basis. And that's probably, you know, is something that you should want as a player. So just be courteous. Like I said, most of these breakdowns are just being courteous. I'm not exactly trying to be mean to anybody, but you know, if these are harsh truths, it's because they are, and you know, they're things that you probably should change if they're negative habits. So what do I have next? Let me see here. Arguing with the DM and causing drama. I combined a lot of these, so it's definitely more than I have here. You know, but I whatever. Oh, if you have a dispute with the DM on rulings and things, save it for after the session. Just because, I mean, if it's something that could be resolved quickly, I'm fine with it being in a session. But the thing is, if a player says something to the DM and the DM still says, no, we're not going to, then the player argues, they're combative, they'll even try to sabotage the campaign. Those are all very terrible habits to have in life as well as in tabletop gaming. You know, so just, you know, don't argue just for the sake of arguing. When I was in the Navy, I'd say about 90, maybe not, maybe about 85% of the players were very much argumentative, rules lawyers. And back then, I was new. I was like, if you watch my origin story video, the Saul Sunforge origin story, you'll see that it's not good. A lot of times the arguing and things, it gets heated. It might start out civil, but it gets heated the more and more it goes, because the player refuses to let it go. I almost every time so far into this 3-year campaign that I've been running, have sided with the players. And that that's just to keep the peace. But afterwards, I would show them the ruling, the rules as written ruling, and everything that proves that in that instance, not all instances, I'm not infallible. No DM's infallible. We don't know all the rules. We're the DMs, not the players. The players are the ones who've had made every type of character under the sun. So they memorize all those rules. The DMs have different rules that they memorize to facilitate your rules and in your enjoyment. And so DMs won't always, especially forever DMs, won't always know everything that your character can and cannot do. They might have a generalization about it, but with all the subclasses and subraces and all the source books, and they keep adding new types of characters now. You could be a rabbit, a turtle, a freaking owl. I mean, there's so much, and it's great. I'm glad that you guys have a lot of choices. That's great. Choices are always good, except sometimes they create analysis paralysis, where you have so many choices you don't make a choice. But I digress. If it's a discussion that you can have after the session, very much appreciate you doing so. Because remember, there's other people around the table besides just you and the DM. And so they're waiting for you to basically shut the hell up so the game can continue on. And they might not tell you to shut the hell up right away, but eventually they're going to get sick of you, and they're going to probably tell the DM, "Hey, get rid of this person, man. Either you get rid of them or we're out of here." And in that case, you're bye. That one player is gone. I'm not going to get rid of 4 players for the sake of one player, unless it's a harassment type situation or something like that. I won't put up with that nonsense at all. D&D is all inclusive hobby, and I'm completely fine including anybody who wants to play, and who isn't a problem player. And so hopefully these things that I'm saying to you resonate with you a bit, and make sure that you get invited to more tables and get kicked out of ideally no tables. And that's also what else? Oh, causing. Okay, so another point I had that was like adjacent to arguing with the DM is players causing drama just for the sake of drama. If you are trying to manipulate the DM to go against a player because you don't like them, or you like to see drama and sparks fly, if you try to manipulate a player to hate on another player, and it's just that's an automatic toss out. Your warning is the message. you're not going to get a warning after you do it. You get a warning before you do it, and if you do it, you're out. At least for me. So I know a lot of people like the drama, but it's not for D&D. You know, your group is already pretty tenuous as it is. Most groups break up before a campaign's over, usually due to scheduling conflicts or moving out of town or things like that, getting a new job, and so I'm not going to add any extra tenuous things that may cause a campaign to disband. And so that's why you get a single warning, and that's it. Because if, like I said earlier in this video, if sorry, I am tired. I apologize, but if you are in a multi-year campaign, it gets worse as a DM the closer you get to what you think is the end of the campaign, because things could screw that up so bad, and then you kind of feel like you sort of wasted years of your time, and that's what causes DM burnout. It isn't usually writer's block and things like that. It's usually just I just don't want to be a babysitter. Especially if you're adults. You're a grown ass adult. I'm not gonna sit there and baby you. You know how to act. You learned that from a young age, or you should have. And I'm just you're right out. You're gone. That's about it. What's my next one? Don't be that guy. And that guy isn't. It's not gender. I mean, yeah, it's guy is a gendered term, but that guy is means a guy or girl, man or a woman that makes the super edgy loner character who broods by themselves in the back of the inn, or the back of the thieves guild or whatever. And just like, yeah, edgy characters are cool. You can play edgy characters right, but edgy in terms of they think it's edgy to play a social game antisocial. And anything the party wants to do, they're contrarian. They want to do the opposite. Party wants to go wants all to go to the inn. You want to leave town and go out into the forest. The party wants to they want to go shopping. You want to go to the dungeon. And like it happens often enough that I would have to bring it up. And sometimes the DM, or at least myself as the DM, I like to make maps, and so I might make a map for you to go do your one-on-one thing. Other DMs may have you have side missions and what's known as downtime activities, which are activities that your characters invested in between the main activities that your party does. Such as your trade skills, crafting, and things like that, and fishing, and gambling, and going, drinking at the inn, listening for rumors and gossip, and meeting new contacts, and maybe a new pay. You get the picture. I don't got to keep going. I could, but I'm just not going to do that. But and plus, you constantly going off on your own means the DM is going to be doing more improv, more theater of the mind, and I'm fine with improv, but the theater of the mind, I like to make my maps, so players know where they're at specifically, and I love theater of the mind too. That's what I started out with, and when I was in the Navy, theater of the mind. But theater of the mind has a tendency to be more improv, and there's more miscommunications like on positioning and no, I didn't go there, I went here, and stuff like that. So when you go off as your own loner character, it's going to be improv. It's going to be entirely theater of the mind. uh you know what, honey? And the DM spends hours preparing maps, and I spend 10 to 15 hours a week making maps. No joke, no joke. And um, if you say you're going to use them and you don't use them as a player because you changed your mind, that's very rude. You just wasted a lot of my time. I don't see why I would want to waste any extra time on you. Clearly, you know, you violated the social contract, which is D&D, that states pretty much that as a group, you guys are going to decide on what to do. You go do it. You let the DM know at the end of the session where you want to go next. They prepare it, and then you go there the next session. That's the easiest way not to railroad people. Just at the end of the session, just ask your players, where would you like to go next? Here are some of your choices, but you could certainly have a different choice than the ones that I mentioned. It's fine. I'll do whatever you want. You just stick with that. And usually, I'll give players a day or two after the session, depending on how long in between sessions, to change their mind. Even there's nothing worse than spending a few hours each day on a map, and then the players just go somewhere else. After they agreed to go to where you're making the map for. It's rude. And I know I've said rude quite a bit. It's probably more than I've said rude in a year. But, it really, all these things are all adjacent to each other. What is, be on time. Let the DM know in advance if you're going to be late, if you're going to be at the session. Make sure you're on time and ready to go. You can even arrive early if you guys want to have that talking, so this way you don't interrupt the DM and interrupt players and things like that with cross table talk. Come early to the session, maybe stay a little bit after the session if everybody's able to, or the host of the session is able to. So get your talking done then. During your intermissions, those are the times you want to do that kind of stuff. But let the DM know far in advance, as far in advance as you can. Ideally, a week for me, I'm cool with that. But if you were going to be there, it's your character's arc, your character's the lead, and you're a no-call, no-show. That's going to upset me. I ended the sentence there on purpose because I was going to go into a tirade, and I'm cutting it off. That's my New Year's resolution to you. I'm going to try to make sure that my videos are a little bit more on point, even if I'm tired. And that's pretty much it. I just thought of another one, and this is a very important one. They all are very important. I don't do fluff, just gold. That's my philosophy. But listen, this is very critical. And yes, this is unfortunately going to go to us men mostly. And if if you play D&D in a group and a female joins your group, don't act like you've never seen a female before. Don't harass her. Don't do that. This hobby's for everybody. Women aren't just meat. They're awesome. They're amazing people. They have different views and opinions. Their DM style and their play style is different. You should encourage these people. You should protect them from other players who are trying to prey on them. Okay? Don't harass anybody, but don't make people feel uncomfortable. Just don't be a weirdo. Don't be a creep. Just don't do it. Sometimes people don't want certain attentions. Just respect that. It's not hard. I guess for some people it's hard. It's why I'm talking about it. But just be mindful what they want, okay? If a attractive lady joins your group and you're trying to get your characters into a love thing, and then you try to carry it over into real life to think like you're sly about it and coy, and you're not, man. You're not. I'm just letting you know. Do something else. It's not cool. If a woman says she's taken, she has a boyfriend, that's it. Don't give her no my ladies and do the whole I'll treat you better than him, and don't do all that, man. Just cut that out. Just pretend in your head that you did it. If you're a creep like that, just pretend in your head, and everything will be good. You don't got to go around harassing everybody. Just don't do it. Ladies don't join our hobbies because they're constantly harassed. And I guess this sounds like I'm white knighting. And I guess I kind of am. But it's just decent human being stuff. I don't have any ulterior goals or anything like that. It's just you might not know that these things are creepy, just because people who play D&D, whether we like it or not, tend to be less social. Some of us tend to be on the spectrum. Those things are completely cool. You might have some learning disabilities and all those types of things. That's fine. I'm glad you're playing D&D. But just don't harass people, man. If they don't want your attention, you gotta accept that. That's it. Alright? It goes for ladies too. But I've met one player who harassed dudes. But I've met so many guys who harass ladies. Just act like you've seen a lady before. And then if you're gonna harass the ladies, don't smell like asshole and axe. Have a great day.